the acquisition channel that we leveraged was paid ads. So we just ran paid ads. We were able to get clients for like £200 each, which is like in dollars, like 250, $300. So that was just a no brainer. So like we could spend £200 on ads to get a client that would pay us £1,000 in the first month. So we just, once we realized that, we just like went crazy on it. And I focused on the sales. My partner Rob focused on the implementation with the clients, and we just grew really quickly in that period. And then I did a collab with Tom Sconnett, and that video did like really well. It got like 80,000, 100,000 views. Like, since then, it's obviously not immediately, but since then. And so I started to get traction onto my YouTube channel. I started to get a bit more traction. So I was like, I'm going to jump on this opportunity. So then I started posting a lot more regularly.
So in this video, I'm going to be interviewing Sam Darby, who scaled his agency from zero to over $100,000 per month, how he's also built his own paid community, which has over 100 members in it, and how he's made it engaging. Also how he's pushed his paid community from YouTube, TikTok, and more, and a bit about his email marketing strategies and strategies in general. So if you have an agency that you're just starting out, this is the video for you. So let's get into it.
I don't know. I didn't really have. I didn't go into it. I didn't go into it thinking I'd have an agency. I started off at university and I was doing computer science. I actually started off doing music, so I originally did music, and then I switched. I didn't really love school. I wasn't really that good at school. I wasn't bad, but I just didn't. I wasn't the best concentrator. So I just like the revising and exams didn't really suit me that well. So when I did a degree in computer science. I did a placement year, which is where you kind of squeeze an extra year in between your second and third year. And then I went and worked in a company. And so I went and worked in a traditional car manufacturing company. Spent a year there doing like data analysis, and it was no shade on anybody that works within those sectors, but it just wasn't for me. I found it really difficult just to sit at that desk all day doing the same sort of stuff, and sort of none of it meant anything to me, right? It wasn't interesting. So at the time, I was really into my fitness. I still am, but I was much more into it then. And the only thing I could think that I would be able to do was fitness. I didn't have any other tangible skills that I thought I could apply to anything else. So I just did I did my personal training qualification. I think it was like £1,000 to become a qualified personal trainer. So I took my first paycheck and I pretty much spent all of it on being qualified as a trainer. So I spent 3 months doing that, got qualified, and then I started doing personal training. So I would take on one-on-one clients. I started to try and grow an Instagram account. Probably that still exists somewhere. You probably find it. But I did like a fitness account where I'd post tips. I did a lot like calisthenics back then. So I used to kind of focus my training around like body weight exercises and more kind of functional training. And so I did that for a little while. And then it got to the point where I was finishing my year in industry, my placement year, but I wasn't really focused on the job. I was more so focused on my own stuff, and I realized at that point that that's what I wanted to do. Right, it was to do something for myself, but I had no idea what that would be. So then when I went back to university, I was like, okay, I need to carry on PTing because it's quite good income when you're a student. If you can earn like 40, £50 an hour, that's pretty good income as a student. So I did that. I found a local gym, which was like, I didn't want to pay rent. I didn't want to have a job at like Pure Gym, but I backed myself to get my own clients. So I just found a unit that was like a privately owned like group training facility. And I just said to the owner, hey, I want to pay you per hour. I want to rent the studio out. I didn't want to like work for you or anything like that. Is that all right? He was like, yeah, of course. You can also do some classes and you can run boot camps and stuff like that. I was like, awesome. So I ended up running his like boot camp classes type of thing. I'd get paid for that, and I also would kind of get my own clients into the gym. And I remember I was speaking to this guy who was an online coach. This was back in the early days of like ClickFunnels, and he was running Facebook ads, and I had no idea what Facebook ads really were at that stage. He was running them to like a funnel and into a booked call, and then he was selling like personal training online training packages for like I don't know £500 or £1,000. So he was making pretty good. He was making pretty good money, and this is back when ad costs were so much cheaper than they are now. So it was quite easy. And so I was like, as soon as I found that out, I was like fascinated by that. I was like, that's crazy. So I started to run my own ads, and I would run an image. What I would do is I'd run an image of me in the gym training somebody. I would target women who were, back in the time when Facebook targeting was pretty good. So I'd target local women who were between like 30 and 60 or 30 and 50. And I would target people who had children who were like 1 to 3 years old. And then my ads would be targeted around like postnatal training. I didn't have a clue about postnatal training, right? But I was like, it's actually not can't be that far different from normal training. So I was like, if you want to get back into the gym, come and try a free class with me. I'm a trainer in Canterbury, which is where I was located. And I literally would run one image ad. I'd run it to a Google Forms. There's no tracking whatsoever. And I used to spend like 30 quid and get like 10, 12 leads. So, which you would never get now probably, but it worked quite well. And I would call the leads that came in. I'd book them in for a session. They'd come in, I'd do a free session, and then I would sell them on like a training package of like 10 sessions or 20 sessions. And I'd make, I remember spending maybe £30 and maybe selling 10 blocks for like 400 quid each. So I'd make like 800 quid from like £30. And I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this
So
is crazy.
what was the return on the ad spend?
Yeah, like £30. I'd spend like £30. And then
Wow,
I would make like 800 quid, maybe
that's
600
crazy.
to £800. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, this is
Crazy.
crazy. I
Yeah.
was like, why is not everybody doing this? This is easy. So I kind of understood back then. I kind of learned a bit about ads, traffic, funnels, like how that works. It kind of lit a fire in me that made me realize that you really are just like one good ad campaign away from making a good amount of money. Like if you can get your ads to make you 10 times what you're spending, man, you can spend as much as you want, right? There's no limit. So I was like, this is crazy. And it also taught me a little bit about like niching and being specific to one sector. I think I think if I hadn't have targeted like postnatal and I hadn't have targeted women who, were of that kind of certain part in their life, I don't think it would have worked as well. So I learned a little bit about copywriting. My ad copy I spent a lot of time thinking about what I was going to write. I learned quite a lot in that process, and I also learned about sales. Like the guy that I actually owned the gym, who's Luke, who's done some courses inside of the group. He taught me a lot about sales. So he taught me to get a credit card machine. He was like, buy a card machine, it's 30 quid. So when they're in the session, you can sign them up there and then. So they're not going away thinking about it for too long. You can literally take the first payment there and then. I was like, wow, I'd never really thought about anything like that before. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I bought a card machine for 30 quid. I could take the payment in the gym, and I learned about it. Kind of a lot of people have faced like this nervousness around sales and selling and taking transactions and taking payments of people. And so like I kind of got that out of the way early on. Like after like 10, 20 consultations, I was kind of past that point. And I got to the point where I was training maybe, I don't know, had like 6 to 10 personal training sessions a week. I did like a couple classes per week. So I was making like maybe £1,500 a month, which as a student was like unreal. Like I was like rich, right, as a
Yeah.
student. And so I did that, and it meant I didn't have to get a job because I usually used to work in bars and stuff to like pay for uni. And I was like, wow, I don't have to get a job. I can choose my own hours. I used to earn £6 an hour, and now I'm earning like 30, £40 an hour. I was like, I'm never, ever, ever gonna not do this. Like, see,
Your mates were probably so jealous. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It was a cool feeling, and I was like, but ultimately, I realized after like 6 months, I actually didn't enjoy personal training at all. I was like, I don't enjoy this. This sucks. Like, I like the kind of challenge of getting the clients, but past that point, I wasn't like dead. I wasn't like a passionate trainer. Like, for example, my fiance, she owns a gym. She loves training, and like she got into personal training because she was really big into the gym, same as me. But she's got a passion for people, right? So she really enjoys that process. I didn't enjoy it, so she actually owns a gym, and she's kind of carried on that path, which is great for her. But I knew that the part I enjoyed was the marketing part, the sales part, not the not the actual sitting servicing the clients part. So I spoke to the owner of the gym and I was like, "Can I run your ads? Because I reckon I can make it work." And he was like, "Yeah, no problem." He gave me the ad budget. He was like, "I'll give you." I can't remember how much he paid me. I think he paid me like I'll give you the like first month membership. So if the memberships were like £80 a month, he was like, if you get me 10 clients, I'll give you £800. I was like, okay, that's a pretty good deal. So I used to run his ads, and then he recommended a friend, and he recommended a friend, and then eventually I met my business partner, and then we after that was right around the time when I was like finishing my degree. So I quickly finished my degree, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have a go at this. Had a go at it. Managed to kind of we had maybe 4 or 5 clients at the time and make just enough money to like pay rent, like have enough money to go, do stuff that I wanted to do, but nothing particularly crazy. And then we basically did that working with several clients for like maybe a year or two up until 2020. And then 2020 was right around the time of COVID. And that's when we kind of pivoted into the construction home improvement sector, focused down our product, and then we were able to kind of grow it that way. So I learned everything that I've learned like practically like doing it over like a number of years. So it's not like I've done this for like 6 months and then started kind of making YouTube videos. I was like making YouTube videos whilst I was doing it day to day. So yeah, that's pretty much the journey really. And then we can talk more about the how I grew it. But like that's pretty much up to that point. That's pretty much everything.
when you were even when you were like kind of in the early stages of growth and the early stages of I think it was called Poke, was it?
Yeah, yeah. So we called it Poke Agency.
Yeah.
Random choice, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then you were starting to create YouTube videos even then.
I think I started on YouTube. I think I posted one video maybe in 2020, maybe 2021. But then I didn't really do much on the channel. I posted like 3 or 4 videos. And then I did a collab with Tom Scott, who some people probably know if they're watching this. And that video did like really well. It got like 80,000, 100,000 views like, since then. It's obviously not immediately, but since then. And so I started to get traction onto my YouTube channel. I started to get a bit more traction. So I was like, I'm going to jump on this opportunity. So then I started posting a lot more regularly.
Okay.
And then it's just grown since then. But like when you're running an agency, it's difficult. So that's why a lot of my videos are like really, really basic. Like a lot of them would just be screen share, like a downloaded Loom video where I just say, hey, I'm going to walk through what's working for me right now in my agency with my clients. And I think because I actually think it's easy to teach. A lot of stuff's easy to teach when you're doing it. A lot of people who sell courses and stuff, they don't actually do it anymore, right? So it makes it a bit more challenging. So that's why even now I still like take on clients. I still manage clients because I'm like, how am I going to teach meta ads if I'm not running meta ads, right? So it's much easier to teach it if you're actually doing it. But back then I was like, fully full time in the agency. So I'd post whenever I had the time. And it was really 2024 when I started posting a lot more regularly. So now I try and post every Monday and Thursday now, like without fail. And I have like a full conveyor belt, like with thumbnails, editors, and that kind of stuff. But before that point, it took some time to get that point. It's very time consuming.
Yeah, yeah. And just kind of switching back, would you mind like going through obviously the growth of growth?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, talk me through that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't grow for a long time. We kind of like teetered around like the 10K a month mark. So maybe for the first 2 years, we were kind of like some months we'd do 8 grand, some months we'd do like 11. And the issue was we were kind of like jumping into different industries. So we'd try one industry, be like, yeah, we're going to focus down on that. Then we'd try another industry and like, yeah, we're going to focus down on that. But we never really nailed it, right? We were kind of hopping around quite a lot. And in hindsight, that feels like a mistake, but it wasn't because we were learning a lot about this sector. And now I feel like I've got a lot of knowledge about different industries. So, for example, I've run ads for gyms, I've run ads for like med spas, clinics, I've run e-commerce ads, I've done all sorts of stuff. I've even done like travel. We worked with a huge travel company for a little while. So I've learned a lot about that kind of stuff. And I learned a shitload during that process. But when we focused down, we actually rebranded and pivoted like at exactly the same time. So we were like, okay, let's just focus on like brick and mortar because I mean, the only reason we did that was because they're just easy to target. There's just so many of them. So we're like, let's just focus on brick and mortar. So we rebranded to Growth and we had like a new website designed and everything looked a lot more professional from then onwards. So like before that point, I'd never spent money on like a professional logo. I'd never spent money on a professional site, but we actually did that. So we invested money into like a new logo. We got some new mentors at the time who kind of helped us with the rebrand. And then shortly after that, we repositioned into home improvement because I can't remember exactly whether it was through COVID or whether we did it just before COVID, because we had one client in that sector who was just doing really well. And we were like, okay, cool. And it wasn't even just construction, it was actually specifically just conservatory roof replacement clients. So that was like if you're watching this from not in the UK, conservatories are like glass or plastic outbuildings attached to the house, which are like sun traps basically. So back in like the 80s, they were like really popular, but now they're less popular. So they don't really add any value to a house. I mean, they add a bit, but they're not really particularly useful like in the summer or in the winter. So they get really cold and really hot. So we had this client who would just take the roof off of the conservatory and stick on a tiled insulated version of that roof. He charged like 10, 15, 20K, but it would almost add like a complete extension to the house. So it was a really cool product. And so we were like, okay, let's just go in on that. And we didn't purposely do this, but we started to advertise that testimonial. And that brought on a whole bunch more clients doing the same product. So it got to the point where we were pretty much doing nearly exclusively just that product. And we had one acquisition channel, which was paid media. That's why I say like I like the term like PPC, which is like one problem, one product, one acquisition channel. And the problem we were solving was just lack of lead flow. There was a huge demand at the time for that product, but these guys didn't know how to reach clients. We just built lead gen campaigns, using high level and using Facebook ads. and we leveraged the acquisition channel that we leveraged was paid ads. So we just ran paid ads. We were able to get clients for like £200 each, which is like in dollars like 250, $300. So that was just a no-brainer. So like we could spend £200 on ads to get a client that would pay us £1,000 in the first month. So we just once we realized that, we just like went crazy on it. And I focused on the sales. My partner Rob focused on like the implementation with the clients, and we just grew really quickly in that period.
Okay, really interesting. Yeah. And yeah, you might talk to me just a bit about the stage from transferring over from growth to now going full time into agency inner
Yeah,
circle, and the agency, um, the free version, of course, as well, and
yeah,
building that community, and you might just talk about how you keep such an engaging community.
yeah.
You've always had like really cool ideas and innovative ideas to like unlocking things and all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I think to grow an agency or any business really from, maybe uh multiple six figures a year or maybe even sort of teetering on seven figures a year, to grow it to like multiple seven figures a year is like almost like a completely different business, right? You basically have to do a lot of the same, like repeatedly, and you have to outsource yourself on a lot of maybe the tasks that you maybe otherwise would have enjoyed doing. And I didn't really like that part of it. So I was pretty verbal about that, not enjoying that element. I didn't really have that much intention of wanting to scale it up to multiple seven figures. I really enjoyed like the 0 to 1 part of a business. So the idea creation, testing out ideas, implementing stuff myself. And that just wasn't really possible at that stage. So I was like, I decided to part ways from day-to-day operation, right? So I wanted to focus more so on the content and like YouTube and the group and teaching this stuff, and that much more enjoyable for me because I could then test out like if I wanted to test out voice AI bots, I could test it out. If I wanted to test out chat widgets, I could test that out. If I wanted to test out a different product, I could. Like there was more time dedicated to like experimentation, which is what I enjoyed doing. So since then, that's kind of what I've been doing basically, and yeah, I do enjoy that. I enjoy a lot more, and I much more enjoy that kind of 0 to 10K stage rather than even like the 10K to 50K or 50K to 100K. I enjoy those too, but the 0 to 10K stage for me is the most exciting. Like once you've got a product and an idea, it's like growing it, acquiring clients, testing out ideas, building a good product. That stuff's really enjoyable to me. And I also really, from a personal perspective, I'm much more of a lifestyle business guy. So some people, I've got friends, for example, who have big companies and they invest in companies, and they're much more like management equity, like that's kind of their bread and butter. Whereas I'm much more of like the attitude of I want a business that serves me and what I want to do. And this is much more guided towards that. So rather than me having to work, 12, 14-hour days, grinding, I was like, I just want to do something where I can wake up and do what I enjoy doing, creating content, educating, building audiences, creating videos. That's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy doing. And I'm less focused on making £1 million a year. If I can make a few $100,000 a year, I'm pretty happy. I know that might sound a little bit strange to some people, but that's just what my purpose is. I much would rather have that more lifestyle focused business, over the kind of big business.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And like you talk about like testing different ideas and like there being like less friction, obviously, because it's like it's you at the end of the day who
Yeah,
who's testing these ideas. I feel like the audience and even people in the group are a lot more receptive to it rather than
yeah,
doing, I don't know, like the same kind of like service delivery. Everyone wants to like
yeah,
do different services and try it out for their own clients because like I've really laid back clients who are like, well, once we did that course on the chatbots and building the chatbots with I think his name's Charles. It was like
yeah,
I went straight to my CRM bot or close bot and test
yeah,
that idea. So yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty cool. But yeah, like in
yeah,
terms of like testing or in terms of like building that engaged community, you mentioned in the last meeting that YouTube was like you said 20,000 views or 5 million views on TikTok is like 20,000 views on YouTube. So talk to me
yeah,
about just honing in on YouTube and
yeah,
use that top funnel to build that bottom of funnel.
yeah. The reason people don't do YouTube is because it's such a grind. It's so hard to get. There's a huge knowledge gap between like having no followers and having a bunch of subscribers, like, is a huge knowledge gap. Whereas on TikTok, you get like quicker rewards. So you can post a TikTok reel and it might get 2,000 views, and then you can say, okay, I'll try another one. You post it, it gets 10,000 views, and because it's a swipe-based platform, you're automatically getting traction. Whereas YouTube, when people are navigating the YouTube platform, right, and they're looking for videos to watch, if that video has like 12 views, your internal bias is you're so much less likely to click it compared to if it has 12 million views, right? So getting that initial traction on YouTube, like, well, let's call it that first 100 subscribers, is incredibly difficult. I leveraged my own other platforms to start it. So I would start on Instagram, TikTok, and I'd always link into my YouTube channel. And so I got the first maybe 500 to 1,000 subscribers just by doing that. And then obviously I featured on someone else's channel, and that helped me get my first 3,000 subscribers. So I kind of cheated my way up there. But YouTube content is by far the best. If you could choose Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, right, to have an engaged audience, it has to be YouTube. Like, it's just by far the best. Like, you retain viewership so much longer. You build a real connection with people. It's like a video-based podcasting, right? People sit there and, I've got videos on my channel that are an hour long, and some people will literally watch the entire thing from start to finish. And if you're giving away real value, um, they're gonna buy whatever you're selling, right? If you're selling a community, a course, a platform, if you're selling an agency, even if you're selling agency services, like we talk about YouTube, we've got like members like Sam from Atomic. He does a lot of YouTube content to get his clients. So there's a big barrier there, but if you're able to overcome that barrier, YouTube is like it's the best platform to get customers. And as what I said before to you was that, like, there was a period of time where I was getting millions of TikTok views a month. Not all the time, but like when I had maybe 2 or 3 videos in a month go viral, I would get maybe I don't know, a few million views. And I would get DMs on Instagram and more followers, but like nothing would really come out of it. And actually, interestingly, I hadn't posted TikTok in a while, and I posted one reel, which was like a sales reel. It was like a live sales call. I posted one reel. It got a million views in like 15 minutes. It was crazy, and I didn't get a single customer or group member from it. Like, it's just that it's such short-term viewership. We're talking like 6 to 10 seconds versus YouTube, where the average viewer watches my videos for maybe 4 or 5 minutes on average, right? So that means some people are watching it for way longer. So that you compare that like 6 to 10 seconds versus like 5 minutes, it's no comparison, right? So subscribers on YouTube is for me the best platform, and I've toyed with testing out other platforms like Instagram and this, but I never really bothered doing it because like I just know that attention is better driven down into YouTube. Like, it's just the best platform.
Yeah, like I remember you gave me some advice and just said start posting shorts because I feel like YouTube is the best of both worlds with like,
Yeah,
that's swipe-based content and you can push it to related videos. So that's what I did
yeah,
with Will's video, and it's like it's now on the Explore page because I'm not doing any shorts anymore, and it's like still getting views. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
really interesting. Do you have any
Shorts
other
are good.
do you have any other strategies, maybe like a bit more on shorts or something else on YouTube that you've done
Yeah.
that has kind of got you more subscribers or more community members?
Yeah. I mean, the ones that get the most views are um, you've kind of got two acquisition channels on YouTube. You've got search based content, and you've got like explore based content. So, for example, if you did a video that was how to set up X within Go High Level, for example, right? There might be a lot of people searching for that term. So, for example, I'm creating a video right now, which is like how to build custom dashboards in Go High Level, because I was like, man, there's got to be loads of people wanting to do this, but there's just no videos on it. Like, I tried because I was trying to figure out for myself. I was like, I really want a custom dashboard here where I can see all the data that I need. And I was like, there's just nothing there. You have to hire developers to build it out for you within Go High Level. So I was like, okay, cool. If I make a video about this, there's a very strong chance that that video is going to have like a quite upwards trend over time based on searches. But then you've got other types of videos, which is like, I don't know, maybe it's like I cold called 100 prospects and this is what happened, dot, 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 where it's more like challenge based. And that's more a video that would maybe fit nicely into like the explore page, and maybe people who aren't necessarily in that, because people go to YouTube for kind of two reasons. They go to like learn, or they go to get entertained, right? And so you kind of got to categorize your videos into those two categories. On the one hand, you've got like search based viewership, which is maybe a little bit more simple headlines that explain exactly what's in the video. And the second thing is like, hitting that explore page and having like high click through rate content. And so I've kind of like tailored to both of those things. So if I think a video is more search based, I'll kind of do that. But one trick that I kind of came across, which is quite smart, is if you've got, let's say you've got a video which you think could work well as a search based video. So let's say it's a Facebook ad training, right? You can start because you can change thumbnails and headlines after a certain stage. So you can hit that first like 7 day window where you're kind of aiming for that first 1 to 3,000 views, let's say. You can then customize your thumbnail and headline, which is more click based. So it's like cuts through the noise a little bit. It's like more kind of clickbait essentially. And then once you've kind of hit that first 1 to 3,000 viewers, or maybe if you've got a bigger channel, it's more like 100,000 viewers, right? Once you've done that, you can then re-optimize that YouTube video for search-based content. So then you can change the thumbnail headline combo to say like how to do X in X, or like full guide, how to, and that's gonna kind of hit the search algorithm a little bit better. So you can kind of, which is quite, that's someone taught me that, and that made a lot of sense. But like ultimately, the only hack with YouTube is just create really, really, really good content. I think one of the things that's missing on YouTube platform right now is there's not much fully in-depth like content where someone's actually educating and teaching you something entirely from start to finish in a video. And that video could be 20 minutes, it could be an hour. And there's a lot of like thirst for that kind of content on the platform. So my videos are kind of mixed between some of them are highly edited and shorter, and some of them are just like pure long form when I'm teaching someone how to do something. If we look at channels like China Morgan, for example, right? His videos now are slightly more edited, but originally they were really, really basic, like very low editing. But he would just walk through something, and it might be like just a Loom video or screen recording. It'd be like an hour long, but he'd get like 150,000 views just because it was just so enjoyable, and the engagement on those videos was super high. So something where people can be on their computer watching it alongside what they're doing. They can be rewinding it, following along, taking notes. If you make that kind of content, it's going to go viral.
Yeah, like it was just him and his whiteboard, right? For a bit.
Pretty much, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy. But yeah,
yeah,
that's a nugget in itself. So thanks for sharing that. I might
yeah. No
use that.
worries.
So I'm already at 100 subscribers, so we'll see how far it goes.
Nice.
But in terms of in the future, are you looking at, and like you mentioned that you're gonna get to YouTube at a certain stage and then move to Instagram or kind of build that up?
Yeah. Um, I'm always going to stick with YouTube as like my main source. But I probably will start doing shorts again. But my plan is to focus at the moment. I'm quite focused around like meta ads, clients, agency stuff. But eventually, I want to expand my channel up a little bit. So I'm probably going to continue on this trajectory for the next like year or two, build that up. But eventually, I'd like my channel to kind of branch out a little bit more into like all-encompassing marketing channel. So I might talk about paid media, organic social content, like viral video hooks, that kind of stuff. I kind of want to become more of an all-round marketing channel as opposed to just specifically like meta ads, for example. But like that's something for the future, I think. For now, I'm going to keep it focused and just there's like a million different ideas of content that I can come up with. But yeah, I started on shorts, so I started on TikTok, and so I'm pretty good at shorts. Like I think I have quite a good understanding of how to make shorts go viral. So I probably will jump back into that at some stage. But if you're going to do that, you need like a better marketing flow to get those users. Ultimately to get them from your shorts to either onto your email list to download your content, or to over to a community or onto your YouTube channel. Like you just need a better funnel to take those viewers elsewhere. That's the key thing.
Yeah, and you touched on the email marketing there. Can you, if there's any other strategies that you have for email marketing as well that people might use for their clients or themselves for their own agency? I find your emails quite enjoyable. They're
Yeah,
like they just there's everything, it's like cutting through the noise, It's like how you got your editor, right? It was just like this is what I
yeah,
do, this is what I work with. And it's kind of the
yeah.
similar style emails I use.
Yeah, so I do at the moment I do one email every Friday. So, and I don't, the reason I only do one a week is because I can like throughout the week when I come up with ideas or I test theories or I have conversations, I can then pop that all into my Notion board, and I can make notes for my email that I'm going to do on Friday. And so every email that I post is like pretty well thought out, and so I get a reasonably good click-through rate, open rate. I get like 60% on those. And I think my biggest tip for email is just to start doing it. If you've got an audience or you're running ads or you've got some form of traffic, just by having something of value that you can give away for free in exchange for someone's email address, it's just something you should be doing, right? Like it's just too easy to not do it. If let's say for example you are like me and you're doing a lot of content around meta ads. Well, I might have a lead. I've got a lead magnet which is like 20 plus page meta guide, which teaches them everything from creatives through to ad testing, all this stuff, and it's free. What we have to do is give me your email address. So obviously I'm gonna have a high conversion. I think that landing page has like 80 or 90% conversion rate because it's like, well, I mean, you clicked on the link to expect that. So obviously, all you need to do is give me your email address and it's yours. So I think leveraging lead magnets is great. It doesn't have to be an actual PDF or anything like that. It could be, for example, like 10 ways in 10 days. So you could give them 10 different business ideas or strategies over a 10-day period, and you drip those emails into 10 different emails, right? And that then increase the open rates of your emails and all this kind of stuff. So um, I think everyone should have an email newsletter. Everyone should have a lead magnet, and everyone should have a sequence of emails that gets fed out to those users based on this type of content that they would like and enjoy. And I think one of the issues people face is one of the mistakes I see is like just the constant sales pitches and emails. Like I'm on a lot of emails now where it's just everything's just a hidden sales pitch. What I do is, which I can show you. Do you want me to show you what I kind of think
Yeah,
I do?
yeah, yeah. More
Okay,
the
one
better.
second. So I tend to, instead of selling an email, I tend to instead, I will send like a content-based email. So, for example, if I share this one here, if we look at this one here, or like, let's go first client to this one. So my emails, there's a little testimonial here, from one of the clients, but like I do a full email then. Oh, this one actually wasn't. This one was pretty short. Let me show you a better one. Let's do trends. So this one was me just walking through trends that I've noticed in the industry. So I was talking about like voice AI, and I gave an example of that. I talk about chatbots, widgets, high level features, and stuff like that. And at the end of every email, I just have a call to action. I'm like, cool, like if you want to work with me, here are the links. But like in the actual core of the email, I don't really plug unless I specifically mention it, and I might add like a hyperlink for it. But like other than that, I'm pretty much just talking about whatever the topic is that I want to teach in that week's email. So someone like reads my email and thinks like, oh, I learned something useful today, and then they're going to go ahead and open the next one. If they open the first email and it's just a mad sales pitch, they're not going to then open your subsequent email. So like the whole point of marketing is that we build trust with our user base. And I don't really do sales calls, right? So people can join my group on their own accord, like it's just a payment link. So I need to do more work leading up to that sale than just saying, hey, just book in a sales call if you want to speak to me. So yeah, just like that, and like even just like the customizations of my emails are like very very simple. So I just use pretty much just text. You can even like preview. We can preview this, see what it looks like. I can't preview it for some reason, but yeah, I keep mine pretty simple, text with a little bit of highlighted color. But other than that, it's very text based and very simple. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my strategy. It doesn't really go beyond that point.
Do you use like AI for building that out, or is it purely just manual? Because like I know that a lot of people, like me included, for my clients, just it's all ChatGPT, and like it's not really customized, and we don't really give a lot of value. It's really kind of salesy, a lot of testimonials. So do
Yeah.
you how do
Well,
you
I mean, if you're doing it for clients, for example, and your client is maybe I don't know, maybe he's a bathroom installer, for example, you don't need long, complicated emails, right? You just need to show, hey, look at this project we completed. Oh, you can get 20% off if you inquire today. Here's a link. That's all you need to do. It doesn't need to be that complicated. But for me, like I'm trying, mine's more educational, so I write them all myself.
okay.
So I don't think I've ever done an AI email. Like I might use it for like I use AI more for like categorizing. So I'm like, hey, can you maybe like rephrase this in a better way or something like that for ideas? But in terms of my newsletters, I write them all myself. I think quality over quantity in my experience.
Okay. Yeah. Where can people find you? Because I know we're gonna wrap up here.
Yeah, YouTube, just my name everywhere. And then if you want to join the group, it's just Agency Club on School. So it's Agency Club free, which is has like a free course in it, and then you've got the Agency Club Inner Circle, which is the paid group. So yeah, anyone can go there on the school platform.
Okay. Thanks a million, Sam, for your time.
Yeah,
Uh,
no worries, man.
we'll leave it
Appreciate
there.
it. Cool.